All right, let's unpack this. How do you spend your Saturday mornings? Are you sipping coffee, maybe scrolling through social media?
Or are you perhaps knee-deep in laundry and, staring down a long to-do list?
It's a universal truth, isn't it? That never-ending dance between weekend relaxation and the looming specter of household chores.
It truly is. It's the ultimate weekend dilemma for so many of us, that pull between what we want to do and what we feel we, well, should do.
And today we're taking a deep dive into a really vivid, often quite funny conversation between two friends, Anjali and Sameer.
Right. On the surface, it looks like just a chat about weekend plans, maybe some chores.
Exactly. But our mission here is to extract some surprising insights. We're looking at things like personal organization, the psychology behind procrastination,
Procrastination, definitely.
the subtle power of social influence, and even how technology is kind of creeping into the most mundane bits of our lives.
It's fascinating, really.
Yeah, this isn't just about cleaning. It's about how we navigate our daily responsibilities and, make space for what truly matters.
And what's so interesting here is how a seemingly simple dialogue, just this back and forth, can reveal so much about, well, fundamental human behavior,
It really can.
our constant negotiation with ourselves and our environment.
So let's meet our characters. First up, we have Anjali. She's described as friendly, organized, always thinking about those to-do lists.
She's the go-getter, basically.
Totally. She's the one who apparently cleaned her entire room, did laundry, and cooked homemade pulao before most of us have, finished our first coffee on a Saturday.
Right. And then there's Sameer. He's the laid-back counterpoint. Yeah. Always seemingly trying to avoid chores, perfectly content, as he puts it, with his creative mess.
And Anjali's description of that mess is it's gold. She walks into Sameer's living room and immediately goes, "Wow, Sameer, your house looks like a mini cyclone passed through."
Huh? And his defense?
His defense, come on, it's not that bad. It's my creative mess. But Anjali, she's not having it. She points out, there's literally laundry on the sofa. He calls it his waiting to be folded section.
Of course he does. The waiting to be folded section, right?
And it gets better. Pete's boxes on the table and unwashed dishes in the sink that Anjali worries might be a science project.
Oh, dear.
Because, and I quote, something just moved.
Oh, wow. Okay. That paints a very, very clear picture of his default state, doesn't
It
it?
really does.
The physical manifestation of his weekend philosophy, maybe. But beyond the humor, what kind of psychological comfort or perhaps avoidance do you think Sameer gets from this creative mess?
Well, it seems like a comfortable, maybe albeit chaotic status quo for him. And his weekend routine, if you can call it that, is just as telling. Woke up at 10 a.m., made tea, scrolled Instagram for an hour, watched cricket highlights.
Standard weekend morning for some.
And then, his words, just scrolled again. He actually confesses that Netflix glued him to the couch.
Ugh, the Netflix glue. Very relatable.
And his diet. Anjali asks about breakfast, and he offers, does tea and biscuits count?
Oh, classic.
He also mentions pizza and tea and cereal later on. Anjali questions if that's even proper food. She tells him straight up, you're living like a college student.
This immediate contrast, though, between Anjali's planned productivity and Sameer's, let's say, spontaneous leisure, it reveals a really fundamental internal struggle many of us face, right?
Definitely.
The key insight here, I think, is that our default settings are powerful. They're often unseen predictors of our life trajectory, almost.
That's a great point.
Sameer's sort of ease and avoidance isn't just about a messy room. It suggests maybe a blueprint for, well, stagnating potential.
Ooh, stagnating potential. That's harsh, but maybe true.
Whereas Anjali's structure and accomplishment demonstrates how small, consistent habits can build toward significant life upgrades, as she seems to want for him.
Yeah, that initial contrast is really striking, isn't it? Which naturally leads us to Sameer's biggest hurdle. His firm belief that cleaning is just boring.
Right. The boredom factor.
Setting up our next key theme, the battle against boredom and, well, filth. He firmly believes weekends should be for rest.
Which is fair, to a point.
Yeah, and he even jokingly admits his plants have probably filed a missing person report because he watered them last week, I think.
That's a classic procrastination excuse, isn't it? It's boring. But if that perception of boredom so often outweighs the long-term benefit, what's really at play psychologically?
Good question.
Is it just simple avoidance, or is there maybe a deeper cognitive bias making that immediate discomfort feel, disproportionately large compared to the reward?
That's a crucial observation. But Anjali, she has an antidote to that boredom. She doesn't find cleaning boring. Why?
Okay, how does she do it?
She plays music. She says happy, energetic songs, specifically mentioning a new Bollywood playlist that gets me moving.
Ah, smart. Changing the atmosphere.
Exactly. And she also makes to-do lists to stay organized. Plus, she emphasizes the feeling afterwards. It actually feels nice when everything's neat. And importantly, resting in a clean house feels so much better.
She's essentially reframing the activity, isn't she? Transforming it from this dreaded chore into something more pleasant through music, lists, the satisfaction.
Totally reframing it. And Anjali isn't just about making it enjoyable. She brings in the serious health angle, too.
Right, because the science project's dishes can't be good.
No. She tells him you can't keep running from basic household work forever. And crucially, hygiene is important. You'll get sick.
Yeah.
She calls him out on the unwashed plates, asking if he's growing a science project in there.
What this reveals, I think, is a kind of dual truth. While reframing chores through enjoyment, like the music or the satisfaction, that's definitely key. There's also this inescapable baseline of adulting, related to hygiene and well-being.
Absolutely. Basic adulting.
It really asks, how do we reconcile that desire for immediate rest with these non-negotiable responsibilities that, if ignored, just compound and ultimately impact our health, our peace of mind?
That's a perfect lead-in to what the conversation showed about Anjali's tech habits. Because this is where things get interesting.
Okay.
In this next segment, we see how technology is getting more and more interwoven into even the most mundane parts of life, like chores.
How so?
She tells Sameer she uses a new cleaning app. Apparently, it sets daily tasks like water plants or dust shelves.
An app for cleaning tasks.
And it gets even more advanced. Her fridge actually has an expiry reminder for milk and veggies.
Wow, okay. Smart fridge territory.
Right. And what's fascinating here is Sameer's reaction. He's genuinely astonished. He says, wow, they have apps for cleaning now.
Yeah, you can almost hear the surprise.
And he concludes, okay, I'm officially outdated. It just highlights this quiet revolution happening in household management, doesn't it?
It really does. And the profound takeaway here, perhaps, is that the convenience of smart technology in managing the household, it poses a fascinating dilemma. How? Well, while it offers this incredible efficiency, maybe it risks externalizing our discipline, potentially eroding the very habit formation it's supposed to aid.
So making us reliant rather than truly autonomous.
Exactly. It's a fine line, I think. Technology can definitely be a powerful tool for organization, no doubt.
Sure.
But it probably shouldn't replace that underlying self-discipline completely.
Right.
We need to consider how it shapes our long-term behaviors,
Exactly. And speaking of getting things done, the conversation takes this brilliant turn when Sameer tries to lure Anjali out with a movie night.
The negotiation begins.
This is where we see the art of the deal and the powerful role of the buddy system come into play. Sameer proposes they catch this new comedy, Weekend Warriors, tonight.
Sounds fun. But there's a catch, I assume?
Oh, there's definitely a catch. Anjali's condition, only if you clean your living room before we go.
Makes sense.
Because, she says, I'm not stepping over socks and pizza boxes again.
Huh? Fair enough. So this is where the social influence really kicks in. She's not just nagging. She's cleverly attaching a desired outcome, the movie, to completing the chore.
Exactly. Leveraging a shared activity. And it sparks this humorous negotiation. Anjali says, fine, I'll help you fold the laundry.
Okay, a compromise.
If you make proper tea.
The tea condition.
Sameer tries to bargain, asking if he can vacuum instead of sweeping because he hates sweeping, only for Anjali to remind him very pointedly.
What?
Your vacuum is in the storage room under a pile of books.
Oh, she knows him well, doesn't she? This isn't just about getting chores done tonight, is it?
No, not at all.
It feels like Anjali's persistent life upgrade project for Sameer.
That's exactly what it is. She promises to drag him to the supermarket for vegetables, fruits, actual food.
Moving beyond tea and biscuits.
Right. Countering his preference for instant noodles and cereal, she even offers to teach him a 10-minute recipe.
Wow, she's really invested.
She declares her mission quite clearly. Today, laundry. Tomorrow, vegetables. Someday, balanced life. It's very step-by-step.
I like that. Today, tomorrow, someday. This segment, it reveals a really key insight, I think. The power of social accountability. And that gentle persuasion. It highlights how sometimes that external push from someone who cares can be the most effective catalyst for change.
Especially when it's wrapped in friendship.
Exactly. And a shared goal, like the movie, helping us overcome inertia when tasks feel just too overwhelming on our own.
That really underscores how our relationships can be these powerful tools for personal growth, doesn't it? Far beyond just companionship.
Absolutely. It's more than just hanging out.
It certainly is. And this whole idea of cleaning actually expands beyond just physical spaces, which brings us to a final kind of broader point.
Okay.
Anjali notices Sameer's phone buzzing constantly and peeks over, saying his inbox is a disaster.
The digital clutter.
Yep. And she suggests he needs a weekend cleaning for your emails, too.
A classic digital creative mess. So many of us can relate to that overflowing inbox and the sort of mental burden it carries.
Totally. And Sameer's reaction is typically evasive. One step at a time, coach. Let me survive house cleaning first. Understandable reaction.
But Anjali just laughs and promises to attack his inbox next weekend, adding, "No escape, Sameer. No escape."
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights how these principles of organization and decluttering, they aren't just for our homes.
Right. They apply elsewhere.
They apply to our digital lives, our mental spaces, too. The profound takeaway here might be that a creative mess isn't confined to physical clutter. It can subtly infiltrate our digital environments, our schedules, even our thought patterns sometimes, creating this unseen friction and holding back potential in areas we might not even consciously consider.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Which raises the question.
Where else might a creative mess be holding you back? What a deep dive that was into what seems like just a simple, funny conversation. We've seen this hilarious struggle between the organized Anjali and the laid-back Sameer.
Yeah, on a couple of chores.
And that often humorous battle to tackle daily responsibilities. We've extracted some key insights, I think, about the unseen power of our default settings.
Right, those default modes.
The delicate balance between rest and essential adulting, the surprising role technology plays either aiding or maybe eroding discipline.
That double-edged sword again.
And the subtle but really powerful influence of social accountability, of friendship, in helping us get things done.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, that even the most mundane tasks, the everyday stuff, can reveal these profound insights into our habits, our relationships, and, well, our overall well-being.
So after deep diving into Anjali and Sameer's weekend, maybe consider this. What small, seemingly boring task in your own life, if you approach it differently, maybe with music, maybe a smart app, maybe with a helpful friend, what could spark the biggest life upgrade for you this weekend?